Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris, and this is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for Bellator 57, which is going to happen on MTV2 on November 12th. So let's get started. For the Bellator welterweight tournament final, we have Douglas Lima versus Killer B Ben Saunders. This is a really good matchup. I'm both in like a physical attribute standpoint, they're both like tall, pretty big for the weight class type of guys. Both have strong stand-up and strong jiu-jitsu. Lima won his last fight by knockout over Chris Lozano. He's mainly known as a BJJ practitioner, but even in like MFC, I was starting to see improved stand-up with him. With Saunders, he's known a lot for stand-up, especially with his Muay Thai knees from the clinch and whatnot. And he's won his last fight on the ground, submitting Luis Santos. And before that, against Chris Cisneros, he was just working side mount position against him. So obviously, this tournament really allowed both of these guys to show off the other parts of their MMA game. So this one's really tough to call. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Ben Saunders. I'm a regular poster, I guess, and commenter of Bloody Elbow. He also posts there a lot. He's a really cool guy. I've managed to have like small, conversations with him, so I really like the guy. I'm also a big fan of the Phenom, Douglas Lima. This fight's really hard to call. It could go either way. I was saying when this welterweight tournament happened that Lima is the guy to win it, and I'm still going to follow that. I'm going with Douglas Lima. Stand up, I think he can hold his own to Ben Saunders. On the ground, I don't think he's going to fall for the stuff that Santos fell for, especially with the rubber guard position. What Santos was doing was putting his hands on the mat. I really don't think, Lima is also a high level jiu-jitsu practitioner as well. I just don't think he'll fall for that same thing that Santos did against Saunders. But it's really hard to say. I mean, it's really hard to say. In some ways, they're kind of identical to each other. So I'm gonna go with Douglas Lima to win this one. But Saunders has been looking really good as of late. He can definitely take this one as well. Okay, next fight after that, we have Vitor Vianna versus Alexandre Shlemenko. Vianna, he did get the TKO victory over Brian Baker. Baker was really throwing wildly, which makes you wonder, because Shlemenko has a tendency to throw wildly as well. If maybe Vitor can find a counterpunch or counter strike in there. And yet against Sam Alvey, Vianna looked really bad. Alexandre Shlemenko though has been looking pretty good. He had quite a fight against Rogers in his last. I mean, they were going back and forth, but Shlemenko managed to really. I think he kind of just outlasted him more so than anything else, and managed to get the TKO victory on him. And he also looked great getting the guillotine choke against Zelg in his fight before that. I gotta go with Shlemenko to win this one. Not to say that Vitor doesn't have a chance. He can definitely his stand up. Obviously, you didn't get to see it too much in the Alvey fight, but I think he can definitely hold his own. And he has shown to have some power as well. Especially with his record, it's like 5 KOs and TKOs and then 4 submissions. So he's pretty well-rounded as well. But Shlemenko, you know, he does have a strong ground game. I like that he's getting back to his feet when taken down, and his stand-up game, it's very unorthodox. But you know, he finds his mark as well. You know, it's not like he'll throw spinning back fists from super far away. He gets in range to throw these strikes. So it's not just to show off his flash or anything like that. So yeah, I'm going to go with Shlemenko to win this one. Okay, next fight after that we have NAF's veteran John Hawk versus MFC vet Roger Hollett. Yeah, this one's tough for me to say. I haven't seen too much from these guys. I'm gonna go with Roger Hollett to win this one, or Hollett to win this one. I can't really say much about it though, to be perfectly honest with you. So I'll go with Roger Hollett to win this one. Okay, next fight after that we have Alexandre Popo Bezerra versus Popo Bezerra versus UFC veteran Doug Evans. Bezerra, man, all the way. I mean, this guy's only lost to Charles Oliveira. He's like 3-0, perfect in Bellator. You know, and the fact of the matter is that Doug Evans, when he loses, it's usually the guy with some sort of notable name, not just like Roger Huerta, but there's other guys too. You know, and I think Bezerra is just that type of guy that Doug Evans would probably lose to. It doesn't help that he's coming off a 2-fight losing streak as well. And Bezerra has just been pretty much tearing it up. His stand-up's pretty solid, but his ground game's really good as well. So yeah, I gotta go with Bezerra to win this one. Okay, on to the prelim card. Okay, we have Mike Corey versus Chris Hordecki. I'm not a big fan of Chris Hordecki, to be honest, but I've got to pick him to win this one. Ever since getting, being released from the WC, he wasn't signed to the UFC right after. He's been doing pretty well for himself, picking up a win streak. He's always had solid stand-up. He's got to show a little bit of his ground game. He kind of did some borderline lay and pray in his last fight. So he's a solid enough fighter. Mike Corey's not too bad himself, though. He's coming off a 5-fight win streak. You know, only 2 losses in his career. He's a pretty solid fighter himself. But I think Hordecki, I mean, he'll probably throw his 1-2 kick combos if he wants to get the fight to the ground. He's capable of offensive takedowns. You know, he's been around the block for sure. But so I'll go with Chris Hordecki. Not a big fan of the guy, though, to be perfectly honest with you. The next fight after that, kind of a pick and fight for me because I don't really know much about these guys. It's Chuck Maddie versus Dennis Purick. You know, both these guys are coming off. Funny thing about these guys, both these guys have never been past the second round. Both of them are on 2-fight losing streaks. I'll go with Chuck Maddie to win this one. Tough to say, though. I don't know enough about these guys to really give a good prediction, though. Next fight after that, we have Eric Moon versus Josh Shockley. Gonna go Josh Shockley to win this one. Eric Moon is a King of the Cage veteran, but you know, this guy, he is coming off a 3-fight win streak, but Shockley, you know, he's a pretty solid fighter. His only loss is to Toby Amada, you know. So I'll go with Josh Shockley to win that one. Okay, next fight after that, Mike Sledzian is going to fight Taylor Solomon. You know, the thing, I'll go with Mike Sledzian here. One thing with Solomon, the guy's coming off a 3-fight losing streak. He has a losing record. He's 2 wins and 3 losses versus a guy with a winning record. I gotta go with the guy with the winning record to win this one. Sledzian, he's never been past the second round, but I don't think that'll be too much of a problem here. Okay, next fight after that, we have Matt Van Buren versus Sean Levesque. Gotta go with the undefeated guy, Matt Van Buren. You know, believe he fought on Bellator before, and he won his fight. If not, it was naps. I'm not too sure. But yeah, one thing with Levesque, both these guys are pretty green, but Levesque has like a 1-1 record. You know, he still hasn't been past his first round. So yeah, I gotta go with Matt Van Buren. He's undefeated prospect. I gotta see, you get to see what he gets to do. And finally, we have a WEC veteran as Dave Jansen is gonna fight Ashkan Morvari. Both of these guys are pretty solid actually. Morvari, 12-4 record, 7 submissions under his belt. But Dave Jansen has a 15-2 record with 9 submissions under his belt. Also, I believe Jansen fights in Team Quest, Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, and is a WEC veteran. He didn't win WEC. He lost guys like Ricardo Lamas and Cronkleton as well, but I always found him to be a pretty solid fighter. So I'll go with Dave Jansen to win this one. Okay, and that's it for my Bellator 57 predictions. Unfortunately, this card is going to be showing at the same time as the UFC on Fox card and the Pacquiao fight. So it's not exactly a good time to put. And this is the two main fights, the middleweight tournament final fight between Shlemenko and Vianna. It's a really strong, and Lima versus Saunders is a fight I really want to see, and it sucks it's on the time that it's on. But it's actually, it looks like a solid card. Bezerra's pretty good as well. Someone I want to see fight. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my Bellator 57 predictions. If you have any comments, just leave them below. That's it for MMA for you. Thank you very much.